Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my new episode of Eloquent English Enterprise. I'm sorry I was away for 2-3 days. I wish I could have recorded this earlier, but it's all fine. So today, viewers, I'm going to talk about the 21st century teaching techniques because with the implementation of the new education policy, we as educators need to change our strategy and make it as per the new requirements of our students. So I've made a little presentation on this and I'll be sharing my screen, and so you'll be able to see what I'm actually trying to say. I hope you're able to see my screen. Okay, so here we are talking about the new techniques, the teaching techniques in the 21st century. And this is all about changing the strategy or changing our format of teaching in class, because the times have changed and the students have evolved, all thanks to the new technologies which have crept into our classroom. So in keeping with those techniques and the development of media, the advancement of media, we need to think about the new technologies or techniques in teaching. So here we are. Now, the strategies which have been evolved or planned for effective teaching in the 21st century. Effective teaching, I'm sure all of you understand. Effective teaching is to be able to convey to the students so that they understand what exactly are you trying to convey to them. That is the transfer of knowledge from your side effectively to your students. So in this particular century, the students are being evaluated not only on their academic prowess, but also on their overall performance, the complete performance that they portray. For example, how good they are in the co-curricular activities, sports, inter-school activities and competitions. So all these things are also very, very important in today's educational world. Now they have to gain a strong mastery over a new set of abilities. And these are critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and digital learning. Critical thinking. Now, critical thinking is thinking out of the box. If they are put into a certain situation, now they are given open-ended situations, and they have to think of a way out, a solution which is different, which is, they say, hatke in Hindi. So that is a critical thinking ability which needs to be developed. Problem solving skills, yes. How can a particular problem be solved by different strategies? And of course, digital learning. This is also very important. So in simple terms, it is the ability to communicate, that is to convey your feelings, collaborate, how you mix around with the others, socially, how you collaborate with them, and demonstrate. That is whatever you've learned, how you can put it out or put across to the people, maybe your teachers or your class. So these skills, this set of skills have proven that students, if they use these skills, they can plan for a good future later. Now, how can we as teachers or educators help in bringing about this transformation? That is, how to implement the new technologies or the new techniques in the system of education. This is simple. We just have to change our mindset. We have to make use of advanced and effective teaching methods that are going to equip our students with such skills. So the best thing is to not experiment, but to set an example before your children. If these children, they get to see what you are doing and you set an example for them, you yourself portray or present what you want children to do. So it helps them a whole lot and it makes them easier to follow rather than just simply explaining in the class and expecting them to understand. These were the rote methods which were used earlier. So now I think we all have to change and we have to set examples, personal examples before our children because they're smart enough to understand. So today, researchers and scientists, they found a few facts that may help our teachers to understand the importance of effective teaching methods and become a first grade 21st century educator. We are not teachers anymore. The new terminology which is being used is that of an educator. So here in this particular presentation, I have put about 5 of these important methods which every teacher should try to incorporate in their classroom. The first one is implementation of technology in the classroom. Now, how do we implement technology? We can't carry huge equipment into the classroom, but today most of the teachers are using the smart boards, and also pen drives can be used to do certain presentations. We have flipped classrooms and all these new methods have come up in the classroom. So and it's also like, you give them certain projects to be done at home, and then that is discussed in the class. As I just said a few moments ago, that students, they wish to see the teachers, or they want the teachers or their educators to set examples for them. And they also want to do practical activities in class. So teachers have so many varied ways of using the technical devices which are available today to enhance the visualizing capacity of students. Like, as I say, if you hear something, you tend to forget it very fast. But if you see it, you tend to remember. But if you do it yourself, you remember forever. So this not only makes the retention of the portion which is being taught to the children, the retention becomes more and permanent. It also helps the children to become more interactive, and that is the need of the hour. They need to be interactive, they need to be socially accessible to each other. And so this will make their learning more interactive and more permanent. And that is what we are looking at. The second aspect is to assist students in developing their interests. Now, it's not like it used to be earlier in our times when we were students, that whatever was the part of our syllabus, only that was taught. But today we have to see what a child is interested in, and it has to be a differential teaching, which has come up in a big way today in the modern educational system. So here we have to help the students in developing the interests which they already have. We are not supposed to make a musician into a painter or otherwise, or force a child who wants to become a doctor into engineering or technology. So whatever is their interest, we have to help them in developing that particular interest, which they can take up later as their profession. It could be a hobby, it could be a subject in which they have in their syllabus. And it's not just us, but children also, they love to do what they enjoy doing. So this is why we feel that we have to help the students in developing their interests. So the focus of a teacher should be to build a student's interest in a certain subject. Even if you want their interest to change, you have to do something. You have to make it in such a way, you have to present it in such a way, you have to manipulate it so that the student is able to develop interest in that particular subject, because some of them are compulsory. And so once this target is achieved, I'm sure instructors will be able to couple it with good explanation methods. And so half your battle is won. The next is offering regular assessments and feedbacks. I being a homemaker, I know that if I make something, if I cook something, I try to taste it before presenting it to my family. Similarly, in education or in teaching and learning, it is of prime importance that the educator analyzes and assesses the performance of a child and also takes his feedback or her feedback. Earlier, it was only the teacher who used to give feedback. But today, it is of prime importance that we get to know from students also whether or not they are interested in something, or whether they've understood it the way we wanted them to understand. So we have to take that test, but these tests should not be those hardcore ones where a child's maybe self-respect is put to test. or their confidence is shaken, we need to have tests which suit their age and also their performance. So these kinds of tests, which are kind in their reality, they're very kind in the sense that a student doesn't consider it to be a burden. So these will help educators in analyzing the student's performance and then build up their strategies for later classes. If a child is able to perform well, the child should be rewarded for that. But if the child has not done well, his confidence or her confidence should not be shaken. It should be, they have to tell the students that till you do not fumble, you will not be able to stand. So even if they fall, it is not the end of the world. They have more chances, they have much more to do in the later times or the times to come. So this will help the students to become more confident. It's going to encourage them to remember. Remember means the basics. They should know the basics on which they need to analyze later, rather than simply memorizing like a parrot. So we do not want parrots. We do not want bookworms. We want people who can understand a certain thing and then analyze it and then build up on the knowledge which they have already gained. Now, as I said earlier, it's not just a teacher comes to the class and gives a lecture and goes away and gives them homework. Today, we need active engagement of children in the class, because till they get engaged in a certain activity, till they do something together, it's not going to help them in their later lives. So if we are a good educator, if I'm a good teacher, I have to keep up, I have to maintain the students' interest in my lesson. Because if we include active learning or project-based education and reasoning, we are going to give them more holistic education. This will also allow the children to develop their own voice, that is to come up with their own ideas, and which I feel are very out of the box. I remember when I was teaching in Delhi, we were supposed to have an intersection kind of a competition for plays. There were certain dramas in their textbooks, and every section was supposed to dramatize it. And the teachers and the principal were invited to view the different performances of different sections of the same class. So sometimes children would come up with such beautiful and out of the box ideas that we as teachers were quite surprised at how a child of just about 10 or 11 years could think of such a thing to present a particular play or drama. Their stage maintenance and decoration, the cards that they made, we were only supposed to give them duties, and the rest they had to manage on their own. We were not supposed to assist them. And they came up with brilliant ideas, and I was completely floored. And they were just girls. That's it. So, and it helped them, I feel it was not just a presentation of a play, but children of different aptitudes, they themselves took over the roles that they wanted to. Somebody made a crossword puzzle on the drama. Another one made a card. Somebody painted posters to invite the school staff and students to view their play. So they were given a free hand to do all this, and they came up with brilliant ideas. This is exactly what I'm trying to convey. Then we come to accepting and embracing change. I also remember another time when I was doing my B.Ed or maybe my master's, one of my teachers, maybe the HOD, she said that change is the only permanent thing in the world. So it's an antithesis kind, So change, yes, change is the only constant in this world. We need to have change. We need to accept that changes are going to occur, and we have to embrace, we have to accept and incorporate those changes in our lives. So today, the most important change that we have to accept is that the role of a teacher and student, it has changed drastically. There has been a paradigm shift in teaching and learning sequencing. So one of the most important roles of a teacher is to help the students to learn and accept changes. And before making the students learn to accept changes, the teacher herself or himself has to accept the change that has come in the educational system. Observation plays a key role here. That is, the educators need to teach learners to observe and be ready to accept changes. Teachers also need to observe and make and accept changes. They also have to encourage their students to try new things and reinvent themselves while doing so. I just gave an example of my Delhi school. So the world can only be changed by the example you set forth before them, not just by your opinion. And this is what Paul Coelho had to say in his writings. So the conclusion is that in this era, education is not restricted to age, gender, or distance. It is something which has a very varied kind of disposition, and we have to accept the fact that education is an ongoing process. It is never ending, and it is not restricted to age. So with the help of online tutoring, which is become very, very common today, especially after the COVID, education has become very accessible and affordable as well. There are tuitions which are going online, and we remember that for one entire academic year, the complete school was run on online classes. It was difficult because it had never been done earlier, but then the teachers changed, the students changed, the parents changed, and we accomplished something which hitherto was impossible and never heard of. So it is important that educators take an initiative to bring a change and give the students a chance to learn, grow, and succeed, because this is what education is all about. We have to make a change. We have to bring about a change in students. They have to learn, they have to grow emotionally, socially, physically, academically, and they have to succeed in their future lives. This is our end result that we want. This is our ultimate aim that we as teachers and educators are looking at. So more of it in my next video. Thank you so much, viewers, for bearing with me. So I'll stop sharing my screen. I hope you liked it. And I'll keep making an earnest effort to bring more and more useful videos before you. So thank you so much. Good night. Have a wonderful Monday tomorrow. Thank you.